should have ministers who tell the truth in this place.
Nice work, guys.
Time has expired.
No one else to defend the government. Oh, my goodness.
Reluctant.
Got something written for you?
Wow.
Who's speaking?
Cut this clip.
I wouldn't want to be in the... Anyone else from Labor want to speak?
I'm happy to.
Go, John. Go for it. Go for it. Mr. Speaker,
The question is...
there's a member who's got to jump.
Honourable Member for Bass.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise this morning to speak on the matter of public importance around ministerial standards. Can you imagine? We have had great contributions this morning from both this side of the House and from the Greens this morning, and I'm perplexed to watch across the chamber, for those that have not been able to see this, that we have 4 members of those opposite that are scrambling to decide who should defend the honour of the government. No one jumped, so with delay, Speaker this afternoon, I'm happy to jump, because in the time that I have been in this place, in just over a year, I have been nothing but dumbfounded by the absolute disregard for due process, for honesty, for ability to... I came from a place for almost 20 years where, although we were all independent and separate, we were a team and we worked together and we said, what is in the best interests of the great city of Launceston? And so naively, clearly, when I came to this place, I thought that although there would be this great strength of debate and there would be this great desire to have a positive impact across the lives of all Tasmanians, that we would, sometimes try to work together, sometimes try to build the best outcome and be very positive in our approach to the matters before us. But all I've seen in this place is question time, for instance. We've just had question time this morning. For the question times that I've been involved with over this just over a year, people often speak the voice of Tasmanians. They speak the voice of people that, by the time a matter gets to us, by the time a matter is so heavily trodden on a really complex journey that it hasn't been resolved and it comes to a political member of the community, it's complex, it's dire, it's distressing, it's overwhelming. Those voices are spoken here in question time, often on behalf of Tasmanians from right across the state. And the disregard, the disrespect, the complete pushing aside of the realities of these concerns with responses that often speak of nothing associated with the subject matter that's been raised, with sometimes humour responded at a time when there's great distress being presented. Ministerial standards, they say, and I can't remember who says it, so I can't attribute this quote, but they say the standard that you walk past is the standard that you accept. And we just heard the Premier before talk about the concern of personal attack. Well, Premier, I say to you, and I say to you genuinely, you are a good person and you set the standard for this state. Yet already today we have seen this counterplay of undermining and personal sort of attempts to make light of really serious issues. So what would I expect when I was making the difficult decision to join this place, and that sometime in the future I hope that I can develop my skills so when we are in government I can be a minister of this state. And I always, in every element of my life, say, who do I use and go to as a mentor? Who do I watch from afar that I would like to be like them? That I would like to be like them, the very best at what they do. Is there anyone in this place that holds a position in the government and that is setting a ministerial standard that I would be like, that I would want to be like? And right now, after a year, I can absolutely say no. I can absolutely say that I am disappointed in the qualities, I'm disappointed in the standards, in the behaviours of so many of the ways that different issues are represented in this place for Tasmanians. Tasmanians expect absolute excellence. They expect absolute determination. They expect relentless effort to solve those complex, sometimes unsolvable problems, but at least a willingness to come together to say, well, what can we do? How can we today take a step forward that progresses us further into a positive place for the people of Tasmania? How can we address and consider and unpack the difficult and complex situations to make things a bit better. Because if we're not going to do that, and if the ministers of this place, of this state, can't demonstrate in this place and to us, or can't demonstrate to their electorates or their constituencies or to the entire state that they are willing to make things better for everybody.
Give me an example where I haven't done that.
We had this morning people representing positions that just aren't correct, and then that gets put somehow in the media, and the media then share those stories with the community, and the community go, oh, that must be right. But it then takes effort to unpack and unwind and create the correct story so Tasmanians really know what's going on. Now, this morning we've heard about lots of important issues. For Tasmanian Labor, our focus is on the community. Our focus is on supporting Tasmanians that are under great distress, are anxious, are often nauseated with the pressures of the rising cost of living. We are out here supporting Tasmanians who are sharing their stories, who are being vulnerable with us about the realities of their circumstances. There are people in our community making choices about whether they actually have their power on at the meter, or whether they are actually lighting and heating their home right now. They're making choices to, as a family, many families go to bed early at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock so they don't have to heat and light their homes. That is the level of pressure and of distress in our community. And in this place, it feels like ministers think that they can talk about something else or distract or not actually focus on the realities of the hardships. We have services and people in our community doing the work with families to support them through these really difficult times. And the government say, and these are the words of the government say, you know, the most vulnerable, the people on concession or pension, and I'm just trying to remember the description that was used this morning, and it was a weird description of people that are struggling. But what I can tell is that this government isn't yet out of its bubble. It's not out of, it's not connected to the realities of Tasmanians, where it's not just the most vulnerable that have maybe been vulnerable for some time in their communities, but it is all Tasmanians that are feeling the pressure right now and the pressures of cost of living. I do not accept the standards that are being presented, and I know Tasmanians expect better.
Members'